Did you know there's one role that nearly broke Marilyn Monroe? A part that pushed her to the edge and left her struggling to survive in the unforgiving world of Hollywood. Marilyn Monroe was a name that echoed through the halls of Hollywood, but what most people don't know is that behind the glamorous persona, a woman was battling immense pressure and personal demons. One of her most iconic roles wasn't just a career highlight, it nearly destroyed her. In this video, we'll dive into the shocking story of how one movie almost ended Marilyn's career and the dark toll it took on her life. So grab your popcorn, because this story is more than just fame. It's a tale of survival. Marilyn Monroe, one of Hollywood's most iconic figures, is remembered for her captivating beauty, infectious charm, and immense talent. However, beneath the glamorous exterior was a deeply complex woman who struggled with personal demons, including mental health challenges and substance abuse. While her career was filled with triumphs, there was one role in particular that pushed her to her limits. Something's Got to Give. This unfinished film not only tested Monroe's professional resilience, but also took a devastating toll on her already fragile health. Let's explore how this role, coupled with external pressures, nearly destroyed her. The build-up to Something's Got to Give. By the early 1960s, Marilyn Monroe wasn't just a Hollywood actress. She was a cultural icon. Her performances in films like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Some Like It solidified her as one of the most beloved and bankable stars of her time. People adored her on-screen charisma, beauty, and effortless charm. However, behind the dazzling smile and glamorous public image, Marilyn was grappling with a host of personal struggles that threatened to overshadow her career. Her off-screen reputation was growing increasingly complicated. Marilyn had started gaining a reputation in the industry for being unreliable. She would show up late to filming or, on some occasions, fail to appear altogether. While this behavior frustrated producers and directors, it was often rooted in deeper issues. Marilyn was battling severe anxiety and depression, which were only made worse by her reliance on prescription medication. These struggles not only affected her well-being, but also began to cast a shadow over her professional life, raising questions about whether she could maintain her status as a leading star. In 1962, Marilyn was cast in Something's Got to Give, a romantic comedy directed by George Cukor. The film was positioned as her big comeback, a chance to reclaim her position as one of Hollywood's top stars after taking a brief hiatus from acting. This was a critical juncture in her career. Her most recent films had received lukewarm responses, and industry insiders were beginning to doubt her ability to deliver. The pressure to succeed with this project was immense, as it was not just about the film, but also about proving her professionalism and silencing her critics. However, the production of Something's Got to Give would turn out to be anything but smooth. From the very beginning, the project was plagued with issues. Marilyn's struggles seemed to follow her onto the set, and tensions began to rise. What was intended to be a triumphant return soon became a turbulent experience, with challenges that would push Marilyn to her limits. The stakes couldn't have been higher, and as the production unraveled, so did the fragile balance between her personal life and professional career. This was not just the story of a film in trouble, it was the story of a woman at a breaking point, struggling to hold on to her career, her reputation, and perhaps most importantly, herself. What happened next would cement Something's Got to Give as one of the most infamous productions in Hollywood history. The physical demands of the role. In Something's Got to Give, Marilyn Monroe played Ellen Arden, a woman who returns home after being presumed dead for 5 years. While the film's storyline had a comedic and lighthearted tone, the reality behind the scenes was far more grueling. Marilyn had to tackle several physically demanding scenes, one of the most challenging being a sequence where her character swims in a pool. Unlike today's advanced filming technologies and special effects, productions in the early 60s required actors to perform most scenes themselves. Marilyn spent hours in and around the water, exposed to the scorching sun. The constant exposure wasn't just exhausting. It added to the physical demands of an already tough role. At the time, Marilyn was also dealing with chronic health problems, including endometriosis, a condition that caused her severe pain. This made the long hours on set, especially during physically intense scenes, even more challenging. The pool scenes were particularly difficult and left her drained, both physically and emotionally. As if that wasn't enough, Marilyn developed a severe sinus infection during filming. Her weakened immune system and the harsh conditions on set likely contributed to her illness. Despite being unwell, she was under immense pressure to keep working. Instead of taking time off to recover, she pushed through, ignoring her worsening health in an attempt to meet the demands of the production. The combination of physical strain, chronic pain, and the relentless pressures of Hollywood began to take its toll. The role, which was supposed to mark her big comeback, instead became a grueling test of endurance, leaving Marilyn even more vulnerable and fragile than before. How much could one star endure before it became too much? A tense relationship with the studio. As if dealing with her personal struggles and health issues weren't enough, Marilyn Monroe found herself in a growing conflict with the studio behind Something's Got to Give, 20th Century Fox. The studio was already facing serious financial challenges due to the skyrocketing costs of another major production, Cleopatra. This put even more pressure on Monroe, whose ongoing absences and delays due to her health problems were seen as major setbacks for the film. When Marilyn fell seriously ill and missed multiple days of filming, the studio's patience wore thin. Frustration grew behind the scenes, and soon Monroe became the target of negative press. The media painted her as unprofessional, which only added to her already overwhelming anxiety. She felt trapped, knowing that her reputation and future in Hollywood were hanging by a thread. The pressure to meet the studio's expectations while also grappling with her health issues became nearly impossible. The infamous nude scene. One of the most talked about and controversial moments during the making of Something's Got to Give was Monroe's decision to film a nude scene in the pool. At the time, nudity in mainstream films was still taboo, making Monroe's choice groundbreaking. She hoped that this bold move would not only show her commitment to the role but also prove to the industry that she was serious about her craft. It was an attempt to reclaim control over her narrative and perhaps silence some of the critics who doubted her abilities. When the publicity photos from the scene were released, they sparked a media frenzy. Monroe's boldness reignited public interest in the film and turned the spotlight back on her, but the pressure only mounted. On the outside, it seemed like a calculated move to win back the public's admiration, but behind the scenes, Monroe's health continued to deteriorate. As her body and mind struggled to keep up with the demanding role, the tension between her dedication to the craft and the toll it was taking on her became impossible to ignore. Could this daring scene, meant to revive her career, end up being a symbol of her struggles instead? The studio's decision to fire her. By the middle of 1962, the production of Something's Got to Give had spiraled into complete disarray. Marilyn Monroe's health issues and absences resulted in her missing over half of the scheduled filming days. For 20th Century Fox, already struggling financially, this was the final straw. In June of that year, the studio made the shocking decision to fire her from the film, an unprecedented move given her status as one of Hollywood's most iconic stars. But the studio didn't stop there. They filed a lawsuit against Monroe for breach of contract, accusing her of being responsible for the delays and financial setbacks. This public fallout created a media storm, with Monroe portrayed as the main cause of the production's troubles. The blame was placed squarely on her shoulders, despite the studio's own financial mismanagement, which had been worsened by the out-of-control budget of Cleopatra. For Monroe, the firing was more than just a professional setback. It was a deeply personal blow. She felt humiliated, betrayed, and unfairly targeted. In her eyes, the studio had used her as a convenient scapegoat for its broader financial issues. The firing marked one of the darkest moments of her career and personal life, leaving her reeling with a sense of failure and loss. The public criticism and legal battle only worsened her already fragile mental state. Monroe's struggles with depression and substance abuse intensified in the aftermath, as she faced the reality of being cast aside by the industry she had helped define. Was this the end of her career, or could she find a way to rise above the chaos? The attempt at reconciliation. After the highly publicized firing of Marilyn Monroe, 20th Century Fox quickly came to a sobering realization. Something's Got to Give was doomed without her. Monroe's star power was unmatched, and attempts to replace her with actress Lee Remick failed to generate the buzz needed to save the struggling production. The studio, desperate to salvage the film, made an unexpected move. In August 1962, they rehired Monroe, offering her a lucrative new contract and agreeing to drop the lawsuit they had filed just weeks earlier. This reconciliation seemed like a turning point. It was a chance for Monroe to reclaim her role and perhaps even restore her tarnished reputation. The new deal highlighted just how indispensable she was, despite the challenges that had plagued the production. For a brief moment, it appeared as though the tides were turning in her favor. But the damage had already been done. The months of intense pressure, public scrutiny, and health struggles had taken a significant toll on Monroe, both physically and emotionally. She began preparing to return to the set, reportedly with a renewed sense of determination. However, the opportunity to finish the film never came. This ill-fated production, which had been intended as her big comeback, ended up becoming a tragic symbol of Monroe's final days. What could have been a moment of redemption instead marked the end of her journey. What really happened to Marilyn in those final weeks, and how did Hollywood let one of its brightest stars fade away? Her untimely death. On August 5, 1962, the world was shaken by the devastating news of Marilyn Monroe's death. Just weeks after being rehired for Something's Got to Give, she was found lifeless in her Los Angeles home. The official cause was determined to be a probable suicide caused by a drug overdose, but whispers of conspiracy theories began swirling almost immediately and have persisted for decades. Her untimely passing left Hollywood reeling, turning her into an enduring symbol of beauty, talent, and tragedy. For many, Monroe's struggles during the chaotic production of Something's Got to Give were a significant factor in her downfall. The relentless pressure, combined with her personal battles and health challenges, created a storm she simply couldn't weather. Her death was more than a loss. It was a wake-up call about the harsh realities faced by Hollywood's brightest stars. Something's Got to Give was never completed, and the unfinished footage stands as a bittersweet reminder of Monroe's brilliance. Despite the turmoil in her life, the scenes she did film reveal her unparalleled charisma and raw talent. Each frame feels like a glimpse of what could have been, a testament to her dedication even in her darkest moments. This uncompleted project also became a turning point for the film industry. Monroe's experience highlighted the emotional and physical toll that the entertainment world could exact, sparking conversations about the treatment of actors and their mental well-being. While some progress has been made, her story still echoes as a cautionary tale about the fragile balance between fame and humanity, the role that almost killed her. Marilyn Monroe's time on Something's Got to Give is a heart-wrenching chapter in her life. The role was supposed to mark her grand comeback, but instead became the breaking point in her struggle for stability. Behind the glamour of her stardom was a woman fighting invisible battles, weighed down by the relentless demands of Hollywood and her own personal demons. Though the film was left unfinished, the story of its production remains a haunting piece of Monroe's legacy. It's a story of ambition, resilience, and the ultimate price of fame. A legacy that continues to captivate and move audiences around the world. So, what is it about Marilyn Monroe that keeps her legacy alive even in the face of so many challenges? Marilyn Monroe's story is one that will never be forgotten. Her talent, beauty, and the immense pressures she faced in Hollywood made her a tragic yet unforgettable icon. But it also raises an important question: what does the cost of fame really mean? If you found her story compelling, don't miss out on more captivating tales of Hollywood legends. Hit that subscribe button and join us for more stories that reveal the truth behind the stars. Trust us, you won't want to miss what we've got coming next.